Welcome back to another episode of Proc the Cop, and today we're going to start a brand new segment, and this one will be called Crazy Internet Stuff, and this one is essentially just going to feature things that are going on, current events, and also things that you guys are posting, and I know this is influenced especially by the people that I follow, but I mean, I guess this is all for you guys anyway, so this will be pretty much our brand new segment, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So, but before we start up, let me go ahead and give a shout out to James Harden. You already know what it is. You know, we appreciate the support. So the first topic we want to talk about is badges and police covering their badge numbers and also morning bans. So let me go into I guess the origin of these badge numbers. This is going to be for very, very large departments because if they're not a very large department, then it's a waste of money. Most departments in my general area and also sheriff's offices don't have badge numbers. So this is just something that is for like big departments like NYPD, LAPD, maybe even Chicago PD. So they have these badge numbers that, of course, are going to be to identify the certain police officer that you're interacting with. And these are, I guess, a good tool, but also there's a name tag. So with these morning patches or bands, they're going to go over like the center of the badge or the whatever other insignia there is, and it's essentially just to mourn the deaths of the officers that have been killed in the line of duty or died in the line of duty. So it's not anything nefarious. Now, some of these things I've seen that some officers in these bigger places have used it to cover up, but all the pictures for some reason have not been of these. They've just been of regular badges with no particular badge number. And like I said before, not every officer has a badge number. I don't have a badge number. I have as a personal ID number, but that is not for me to divulge to civilians. That is for me to access certain information. So, like I said before, these badge numbers, they tend to only be for bigger places. When people ask me for my badge number, I always say, well, I don't have a badge number, and it's always a bit of confusion. But you have my name, you know what department I work for. If you would like to file a complaint, then you can go ahead and do it. And so let's go on to the next topic. So it's going to be Berkeley, California, moves to replace unarmed police with unarmed civilians for traffic stops. Wow. This is going to be a crazy situation, and mental gymnastics to do so are going to be just wild in themselves. So this is and number one, you're going to get somebody killed. There's multiple instances of police officers, as soon as they get out in the traffic stop, them being shot or being shot at immediately. I would feel like you have to be a very ballsy person or just flat out dumb to try to detain someone without any authority during something like this. And speaking of that, like I said, you don't have any authority as another person to detain somebody. Now, of course, if there's a crime, I think if a person commits a felony or is hurting another person, you can. But in this case, that's not what's going on. So you have to be careful because you're getting into the realm of false imprisonment and also kidnapping when you detain someone and you have no authority to. So honestly, unfortunately, I'll give it a month before someone gets killed if this ever happens. Because I mean, even in my situation, if it happened to me, if a meter maid tries to pull me over, as soon as they tell me who they are, I'm driving away. So I mean, they can't keep me there. They're just meter maid. So and this is why I say you have to actually do things that actually do good and not just to make people feel good, because this is one of those things that is honestly just making people feel good. Like, oh, these police aren't going to be on traffic stops anymore, even though there's no statistical evidence that police pull people over for the color of their skin, and not to mention it's also going to be it's not probable cause. As soon as you don't have a reason why you pulled this person over, the stop's going to get thrown out. It doesn't matter if the person had 100 bricks of cocaine. If you stop them because they're black or you stop them because they're Hispanic, that stop means nothing. Now, of course, the cocaine is going to stay with law enforcement, but the charges are going to get dropped. So that is why I think a lot of people don't understand as well. So you just have to be careful. Make sure you do things that actually do good and not just make people feel good. The next situation is also out of California. This one's going to be out of Sacramento, California, and this was essentially also something that was false. So they say that police put a plastic bag over a black teen's head, and that's false. So this isn't a plastic bag whatsoever. It's a mesh bag. It's breathable. You can see through it and everything of that nature. And they put this on him because he was spitting at the officers. And I know that he's a child, but I mean, if you ever worked in a high school, you'll see for yourself how combative a teenager can be. So this is they just put the mesh bag over his head. His mother came and picked him up, and he was charged with battering an officer. He wasn't arrested. So yeah, it's just you have to be careful what you post online because this is false and it could scare people. You have people thinking that police are paper plastic bag in people's head like it's like you're torturing people, and that's just not true. So, like I always say, just be careful because that is extremely dangerous to post something like that. The next thing we're going to talk about is the sovereign citizen getting pulled over in Virginia. This situation happened also in 2019, and this was a man. This African American man was pulled over. He had expired tags, suspended license, and his car also smelled like marijuana. We know from last episode that if your car smells like marijuana, police do not have to have your consent to search the vehicle. You are asked to move to step outside the vehicle, and they're going to search the vehicle for the marijuana. And this is also including the charges that you already have. This individual refused to leave his car, and he was removed out of his car. Now, what I will say is that officer he was pretty unprofessional. I think he was lost in the moment. He was angry, and you can clearly see he was angry. And someone should have pulled him off and said, "Hey, we'll take it from here." And but this is also comes in the fact that you want the best people to be law enforcement. So you defunders out there, you want to pay, of course, defunding is going to go into salaries. So you pay people 30, 40, even low 50s, depending where you're at. I mean, you're not going to get the cream of the crop in what you want. You want the best people you can to be law enforcement, and I think everyone can agree on that. So, but the sentiments of him being pulled over and yanked out of his car because he was black on a Tuesday aren't true at all. When it comes to sovereign citizens, if you want to do a quick YouTube search and see police with sovereign citizens, most of these people are going to be white, and they're yanked out the car in the same manner. That's just the protocol with sovereign citizens. If you refuse to leave the car or identify yourself or anything of that nature, police are going to arrest you for resisting delay and obstruction, probably break the window as well. So that leads me on to the last and final topic, and this is going to be the Michael Lawrence white cop pulls over black cop situation in PG County, Maryland. So let's just go over what he said and dive right in. He said all police have a body camera they're supposed to wear. It's a little box, and if you don't see that red light, don't do nothing. That's false. So where he's at, he got pulled over in PG County, Maryland. PG County is in the process of giving all their officers body cameras. So they're not there yet, and this is a thing again with funding. These body cameras cost $400 a pop for every officer, and they cost like $80 per month for storage because you want to record all the interactions they have with the public. So this is so yeah, what he's saying is technically false, and also every body camera is not an Axon body camera. Some of these body cameras record 24/7. I don't know if they have the red light. I have an Axon body camera, but I know officers that I know have different body cameras that look totally different. I don't know where the red light for recording would be, but if it's recording 24/7, then I imagine there isn't a red light. So just be careful with what you hear and what you listen to, and take everything, especially on the internet, with a grain of salt, unless someone who's law enforcement can verify this. So, and honestly, when he said all this, it kind of made me question whether or not this man was law enforcement, because he said every officer should have a body camera, and I know some places in North Carolina where officers have to share radios and share other things that you would be kind of shocked about them sharing. They don't have tasers. They don't have other intermediate weapons like pepper spray or batons. They have a gun and some hands, and that's it. And this is a reality of some places when it comes to funding. And I know everyone can't afford to have body cameras or can't afford these other these law enforcement amenities, and that's just the reality of situations. So and another thing he said was you have the right to demand for a lieutenant or sergeant or someone in charge. That is false. So I don't know where he's at or other situations, but in my area, it's pretty restrictive, and we are kind of ahead of the game. All the 8 can't wait that's been implemented for years. So these things, when he said you have to request a supervisor has to come, it's just not true. So think a state trooper probably pulls over at least, I'd say, like 20 cars a day. If you think about it, and every 20 people request a supervisor, and state troopers work in general, like from counties to county. So this is a huge area, and you got 3 state troopers pulling over 60 people a day, and every single one of those 60 people request a supervisor. That's impossible. You can't do that. So it's gonna pretty much pull production to a screeching halt, and no one's going to be able to get anything done. Now, keep in mind, even if a supervisor does come out to a traffic stop, which he's not necessarily, he doesn't have to come out, and we don't have to give you a supervisor, but the supervisor is not going to stop you from getting a ticket. Now, if something crazy is going on, of course, the supervisor is going to intervene, as in the officer's being super unprofessional with you and treating you a way that you should not be treated. Of course, he's going to intervene. But when it comes to stopping you from getting a ticket, it's not going to happen. You're still going to get a ticket. So, that's pretty much it, guys. And remember, like I always say, misinformation is dangerous, and you guys have to watch what you're posting. And I know you're trying to help people, but it's going to end up pretty much like the meme of look, Patrick, we saved the city, when you actually didn't save the city at all. You're just giving people misinformation. And someone on a traffic stop, and they say, oh, I'm not talking until I see your body camera on, and I'm not talking until your sergeant gets here or your lieutenant, and then they end up not complying with the traffic stop, and they end up getting pulled out the car and arrested. Then at that point in time, you've done people a large disservice, because I mean, now they're arrested because of something they saw on the internet. And that's just going to make everyone's job a lot harder. That's going to make people's lives a lot harder, because they're believing what they see on the internet. So just be careful. If you have any type of questionable video, don't hesitate to reach out to law enforcement. My advice to you is, if it's only a 30, if it's below a 2-minute video, I would say seriously watch it, and try to seriously be very, very questionable of it. Because, I mean, if you see anything in a 10-second clip, it's going to be, oh, wow, I can't believe they did that. I can make anybody look good in 10 seconds, and I can make anybody look bad in 10 seconds. So just be careful. Try to get the full videos. Try to access the full body camera. And also, I'd be wary. If someone doesn't give any background information, you should be wary. They should be able to give where this happened at, state, city, police department. If they don't, then they're just honestly peddling misinformation. So, guys, just be careful, like I said before. And I appreciate you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the brand new segment. And if you felt like I was attacking you in this, don't feel attacked, but make sure you're posting correct things. And that's about it, guys. Thanks again, and until next time.